Ahoj, tady Petra, podcast Filmová 174. 63. ročník Zlín Film Festivalu už je pár dní za námi. Náš audioarchiv je ale stále plný zajímavých rozhovorů. Ty další, které udělal Gert Hermans, si můžete poslechnout právě teď. Jako první si bude povídat s Hugo Thomasem, což je režisér filmu Junioři, který si odnesl na uplynulém festivalu cenu ekumenické poroty za nejlepší celovečerní film pro dospívající a mládež. Když se ale tenhle rozhovor pořizoval, tak o tom, že bude oceněný, ještě neměl ani zdání.
Ahoj, welcome to the Zlín Film Festival Bubbles, where every day we welcome some of the most sparkling and bubbling guests of this year's festival. You thought festivals were all about champagne and red carpets. Well, we don't have the champagne, but we do have the bubbles, and today's bubbles are coming from France, so we can't get much closer to champagne than the guest we're having today, and it's Hugo Thomas, director of the film Junioři. Welcome. Hello. In the Zlín Film Festival and in our festival bubbles. I guess you're the one who should be able to tell us what this film is all about. Can you tell the story in 5 sentences so that everybody knows?
5 sentences. Well, it's about two teenagers, two best friends who make a big mistake. If you want a longer version, it's two people two friends who like to stream their video games online, and one day something happens, and a lot of people think one of these two best friends has cancer, and it happens to be the day when he breaks his PlayStation 4. So they decide to pretend that it's true. He has cancer, so they can raise money and buy a new one. So that's it. That's pretty much it.
What I thought was really interesting about this film, it's not set in Paris. It's not set in Marseille. It's set somewhere in France. Maybe you can be more specific about it, because it's the place for me also defines the story.
That's really where the idea came from. So it's really interesting that you bring it up, because in France a lot of movies are based in Paris or made by people who come from Paris, and that's something I don't like really. So when I started to make movies, I knew that I was not from Paris, and I wanted to talk about different areas than Paris. And so it was really inspired by that and by my childhood and my teenage years in the French countryside, where everything feels boring and where you have a passion, but you can't really do anything about it because it's too far. Everything's too far. Everything seems out of reach, and life is hard.
This might be a familiar feeling for the people in Zlín.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
So, because your story is also set in a small town, and I think that's more or less the same position that Zlín has.
I'm pretty sure there's so many places where it's like that in the world, where you, like now with internet, you watch everything like the Oscars in Los Angeles, and I don't know, if you have a passion, you can have access to it, but you can't really be a part of it, and that's a paradox that came with internet, that became bigger with internet, and that's what I wanted to talk about.
Just like the festival, like the Oscars in Los Angeles, people can also watch the festival bubbles from Zlín all over the planet. But you already had a screening in Zlín. How did it go? How did the audience react?
It was really good. I was really surprised to see how there was a lot of teenagers, very young, like 12 years old, and they had a lot of questions. They were really open, and they really wanted to talk, and that was surprising for me, because in France where teenagers are really shy, and it's hard for us to speak in public, but I saw that in
I thought
Czech,
the French did nothing else than speaking all the time in public, or not?
Not in public. We're not used to it, so I was really surprised, and it went well, and they asked for Junioři 2 for the sequel, so that was a good compliment.
Another thing that we recognize in the film at the moment is not only the small town, but it's also the season. This film is set in summer. a little bit the same feeling that we have today, like there's a new season going to start, everything is wide open, we're going to have a lot of fun in the next couple of months. That's the feeling that I can sense here out on the streets, but it's also a little bit the feeling that I get from your film.
I really wanted to film in the summertime. Unfortunately, it was a really bad summer, so we had to cheat a little bit. But yeah, I think it's interesting too that the film takes place in a place where it's really nice in the summertime because it's a vacation, almost a vacation place. But then when people leave the place, the rest of the year it's very boring and there's nothing to do. And there's also a paradox that I liked.
So that's the real world. A substantial part of the story is also situated in a virtual world, or at least a digital world. How did you combine the real world and the digital world in your film? How did you fit the stories together?
Well, what I think is interesting is that they're huge video games fans, but they won't play until, like, they just play for 5 minutes and then it's over because their PlayStation breaks. And then, in a way, they play, like, what they used to live in the video games, they live it in real life. Because, like, at the end, there's a huge... They get chased by people with huge weapons and stuff like that. So they live it in real life. So that was something that I had fun playing with. And also, I loved, like, talking about the cliché, which says that violence in video games creates violent people and stuff like that. Yeah. I just wanted to have fun with this cliché.
What I was wondering all the time, the digital world is changing really, really fast these days. Do you have any idea how people will react if they see the film in 10 years? Because I don't think PlayStation 4 will still be fashionable in 10 years, but what about the rest of the story?
Yes, so fortunately, what they want is a PlayStation 5, so that's great, so it gives us a little time. Other than that, like, video games are not really present in the movie, so I think we should be fine, because, as I said, the PlayStation breaks, so in the end, it's a movie where, like, it should be universal, and what I film is more of the countryside than really video games.
Okay, then I have one last question for you that is also very much connected to the city of Zlín, because you know that the glorious empire of Zlín was built on one thing, shoes, from the Beze factory.
Was it? Oh.
I thought that was the first thing that people told you when you came to Zlín. That's what they usually do.
I've learned a lot about Zlín, but I didn't know that.
I will tell you about the Beze factory later. But first I have this one question. Since Zlín is all about shoes, can you show your shoes? And maybe there's a story to your shoes.
A nice piece, Doc Martens, very, very, like, never gets out of style. And actually, when I was a kid, with my parents, we always went to the place where they make Doc Martens, but they sell the ones with a little default, a little problem.
Yeah.
So they were much less expensive. So it was a part of a trip we made every, like, other year. So we went there and bought, like, little Doc Martens, but with a
So you grew
problem.
up in your Doc Martens.
Yeah.
So you see, nobody realizes it, but everybody has a story about shoes, and I really liked your one, and I also liked your film, and the fact that we have you here with us. I wish you great days in Zlín, good luck with Juniors, and thank you for being in our festival bubble today.
Thanks.
Další režisér, s kterým si povídal Gert Hermans, byl Dan Pánek. Ten má na svědomí film Děti Nagana a o něm se dozvíte právě teď víc.
Ahoy! Welcome to the Zlín Film Festival Bubbles, and today in our bubble bat we have a very special guest. Special because he is Czech. He made a great film about a great Czech sport that I don't know nothing about, but we're very happy to welcome Dan Pánek with us, who's the director of Big Dreams.
Hi.
And the only thing I can say about it is that's a film about hockey, and I think you're the one who can tell us more about the story.
Thank you for inviting me. Mainly for me, it's a story about pursuing your dreams and be brave in what you want and what you desire. The desires are the main theme of my movie, and family relationships as well.
But Tell me in very briefly, like the story. How does it go? It's about a young boy.
It's about a young boy who wants to be goalkeeper or goaltender like Dominik Hašek was, and he wants to do it because of his classmate Katja. He's in love with her, so he wants to be the best for her. So hey, I want to be goalkeeper, and because he saw that semi-final with Canada, and he was like, hey, I want to be like him. Yeah.
We will talk about hockey later, of course, but first, one question that just came up to me when you said it's about purchasing your dreams, but I think it's also about the expectations that other people put on you, because that's really a burden on the boy's shoulders.
Yeah, from 80% it's like autobiography of myself, because I was kind of outsider in my 10 years, maybe on my years on basic school levels. So I put everything what I had from this era to the script, and hopefully it works.
Yeah, and it also helps for people like me who don't know anything about hockey to still find a lot of things in the movie that we can relate to, because they're practicing for ice hockey, but what they play is a kind of field hockey. How does it work?
Oh, we had actually 25 exercises. It's like choreography, because the kids aren't hockey players. So except the main Dom or Tom is a hockey player. He's a defenseman in a real life, but obviously he played a goalie. So he helped us a lot to practice things. We had a coach for the kids, hockey professional. So yeah, 25 exercises, and it was tough. It was tough.
There's a few things that we can, or that I can learn from the whole hockey part. There's a few quotes in the film that teach me about what is going on as an observer who doesn't know about hockey. They say hockey is no ballet.
Yeah,
that's true. Hockey is no ballet.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
And the other thing is that nobody is bigger than the team.
Oh, that's a big idea and totally truthful.
It's a lesson from sports, but it's also a lesson for life.
To life, yeah, for life.
There's another thing that I can sense sometimes in the movie, and I want you to talk about it to our Zlín audience, because they're all the time talking about Dom is called as the boy from Prague. Yeah. Is there a certain conflict there between Prague and life in the villages?
Yeah, absolutely. As I remember, I was that Prague boy who is now living in a village, and these classmates were pretty tough on Prague boy, who is new on the ground, like on a village, and they were, kids are cruel, and maybe teachers too are cruel, maybe more cruel on that outsider boy who thinks, hey, I'm from Prague and I'm better than you. Maybe, yeah, I was like that, and they really gave me some lessons that time. So I wanted to put it to that script and show how maybe sometimes the kids, as I said, are cruel. Yeah.
But the film is. Maybe if people know about hockey and you know about the semi-finals, then you know in what year the film is set. But this famous semi-final thing didn't ring a bell for me. But I could see from the scenery that it's not set today. There is a certain nostalgia about the whole scenery.
98.
98?
Yeah. The beginning of movie is February. Is located at February 98, and the next part of movie is. Situated on the June 98.
For me, that was really interesting to see, like what they are wearing. Yeah, you gave your art director quite a busy job, Because the house, the interior design of the house, the clothes that the kids are wearing, they're all very much 1998 in Czech Republic then.
Surprising thing was that we shoot it on at Kutná Hora city and nearby, and the whole locations were done, were finished. The people who live there or living there, they still living on the same thing like from 90s, and we were so surprised. We were like, oh, we are here. We didn't need. Oh,
you went to a to a different universe.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Our set department was like, hey, we have nothing to do here. it's complete.
But I could feel in the screening that this is also something that was speaking to the grown-up audience that was there. Like they remember it from their childhood. Yeah, the way they had to work with their parents in the garden. Especially, I could feel that. Oh no, I had to do the job.
But costume department did an amazing job because. When I visit there, when they prepping thing, I was really amazed what details they make.
There's one more thing is that also relationships between kids and parents were a bit different in the 90s. You can feel that in the film as well.
Yeah,
I was specifically. The movies in the festival have a beautiful advertisement in the beginning that shows you family on a picnic trip and life looks so beautiful and parents love each other and kids are happy all the time, and then the next thing is your movie that starts that shows a little different.
We are not choosing our parents, so this is what the movie is about. And parents obviously thinking about good decisions for their kids, but you know, it's their point of view, their opinions, and kids must, you know, some kind handle it out. So it's tough.
I have one last question for you. You know that you're in Zlín. You're the boy from Prague, but if there's one thing that you know about Zlín, it is
Karel Zeman.
He came here thanks to the Bata shoe factory. So. In our festival bubbles, we always have a little thing about shoes, so I would like to ask you to put your shoe on the table and tell us a story about your shoe.
Oh, it's kind of my the best shoe I have, but it's kind of dirty, but yeah.
Nobody sees it on television.
Yeah, but for me it's it sets to the dress. You know, it's kind of, I love it.
Okay, I'm happy to see that you're satisfied with your shoes. And we are very satisfied about and very happy about having you here in our studio today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making this great film. I hope many, many more people will watch it.
Thank you.
And have a nice time in the city of Zlín for the rest of the festival.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Poslední dnešní rozhovor je s tvůrci snímku Beze, strachu, který jste také mohli ve Zlíně vidět v rámci 63. ročníku Zlín Film Festivalu.
Ahoy! Welcome in the Zlín Film Festival bubbles, and today we don't have just a simple bubble, we have a whole bubble bat. There's 3 guests with us today, and also the word bat feels very appropriate because the film that they're here to present is called Fearless, and quite a large part of it is taking place in the water. It's a documentary made by Luciano Toriello, and we have the 2 protagonists of the film here with us as well. Half Italian, half Brazilian, I can say. Maybe you can correct me later, but the names are Massimo and Pierre Rizzello, and the film is mainly about the things that Pierre does, which are really remarkable as a kite surfer. So that's today's bubble bat in the Zlín Film Festival bubble, and maybe we can ask Massimo Rizzello about what is kite surfing all about. I don't think it's very popular in Zlín. I don't think we do it a lot around here, but in Brazil, where you live?
Yeah. The kite surf is a very young sport. Was born around 20 years ago. In Brazil, we have the best condition for this sport because there is the constant wind every day in our high area. We come from Jericoacoara. And there are a lot of flat water lagoon and very hot sea, ocean. And the Brazil is one of the best places to do this sport.
But on screen, it looks quite spectacular. I will later ask the director how he made it look so spectacular, but is it really such a spectacular sport? And we also see that Pierre every now and then gets hurt. Is there danger involved?
It's a very spectacular sport. It's a good combination between the fly with the kite, with the sail, and the combination with the board in the water. We can do different tricks on the water or in the air between 10-20 meters from the water.
So that would be my question for the director. How the hell did you get this thing on tape or on film? The stunts are breathtaking, but also the way you filmed them must have been quite breathtaking. How did you do that, technically?
Technically, it's been very difficult because we shot this film in 10 years. And so various technology have changed. And then 10 years ago, I have to think how I want to show this film after the 10 years. It's not easy, but I think I show what I want.
It looks, at least, fantastic. And one of the things we learn from this film is yeah, maybe I should ask you first. It's a documentary, but there's also a story. We're heading from point A, which is a really, really young version of Pierre that we see on the film, to point B, the end of the whole story. Can you tell me a little bit about how, because you started with material that you filmed when Pierre was three years old, I think, yeah. And then there's the climax of the movie. Can you tell me a little bit about how this narrative develops?
Yes, we have shot a lot of materials, and we cut a lot of materials. Sometimes I think that I can do another documentary with that material. But the important for me, it's not Pierre like a world champion, but the childhood of Pierre with his problem, his happiness, and above all his relationship with the father. And so when I edit the film, I think about this relationship.
And the climax of the film is one of the big games that we will see.
Yes, the climax of the film for me is when he come back at home, and he wants to be a young people. He goes to school, he design, but then when he meet an old man that speaks to him about the passion to start again. It's important to start again. I think it was the moment to close the film.
Yeah. Pierre, it's not only a story about all the games that you're winning and all the good scores and the victories that you're getting, but it's also about a lot of hard work, a lot of labore for you. How hard do you work? How hard do you train?
Io lavoro, io faccio kite da 4... ho sbagliato tutto.
Vai,
tranquillo. Aspetta, allora, io studio al mio giorno 8 ore al giorno normalmente e faccio 4 ore di kite e il resto di tempo che rimane faccio quello che mi piace, mi diverto con gli amici e gioco.
He studies for 8 hours in the day, then he works hard for 4 hours, and then other games are all in the water with the friends.
The fact that you have your skateboard here with you, is it also a way of training your abilities?
Lo skate con te perché anche con lo skate lo usi per qualche attività?
Sì, io lo uso per un po' come si dice? Tipo...
Per allenarti?
No, tipo per simulare il surf. Allora c'è una grande impressione tra il surf e lo skate, perché hanno esattamente quasi gli stessi movimenti.
He used the kiteboard, the skateboard when he doesn't go in the water. It's the perfect simulation as a surfing.
We are looking at a kid who is too good looking and too cool to be true, with a father that is too good looking and too cool to be true, performing in a super, super cool looking sport in a beautiful, cool country. It could be a little bit too much, all of this. It could be too cool and too good. And then you also show that some things are not perfect in this beautiful picture. There are some tensions every now and then. There's things that go wrong. There's moments that Pierre doesn't behave like the perfect kid. You decided to keep it in the film to make a more complete picture, or how did you?
I think to show the reality. But it's difficult, the contrast, because there are the beautiful land, and the real story with all is a problem. But Pierre in the film is like in the reality, and so I decided to show him in this way. It's difficult because the land is so beautiful that you can have a problem with during the projection.
Mm-hmm. I have one last question for the three of you, because we're in Zlín. I don't know if people told you, but the empire of the Zlín city is built on one thing, and that's shoes. So if you come to Zlín and you come to our festival bubble, we always ask our guests to show your shoe to the camera and tell us a story about your shoes. Why? Yeah, why these shoes? Why are they special, or what's the story behind them? Show them.
Falle vedere.
It's my way. I'm always with this kind of shoes, and I love to work without the shoes.
I'm not sure if I should be so indiscreet to ask you, but the size is quite big. What is his size?
This is size 46.
46. Oh. What about you?
It's a surf.
About us. I know about the shoes of Slim 10 minutes before. About us, usually we never use the shoes at home because we live in Jericoacoara. There is no street over there. We walk in the soft sand. And then we choose these shoes we buy in Europe because are very light. We use for skateboard. Are the shoes for skateboard. The shoes of Pierre are the same of me. We have the same story.
But not the same size.
No, of course.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your shoes with us and sharing your stories with us and sharing your film with us.
Thank you.
We're really happy and proud to have this film here in the Zlín Film Festival, and we're extremely proud of having 3 guests coming with the film. I hope you have a nice time in Zlín, and it was lovely having you here in the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pro dnešek je to všechno. Já doufám, že jste se bavili dobře, procvičili jste si svou angličtinu a budu se těšit zase příště. Pokud by vás zajímalo, co všechno jsme ještě stihli na tom uplynulém ročníku Zlín Film Festivalu natočit, s kým se pobavit, tak nás určitě sledujte, a to buď na Spotify anebo dalších podcastových platformách. Já jsem Petra Pivková a tohle je podcast Filmová 174.